friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. And in today's video, I am bringing you another episode of No Makeup and Chill, the Barefaced Chronicles. It's been a couple of weeks since I filmed one of these episodes, and basically my filming schedule has just been kind of off the last couple of weeks, basically ever since my grandson spent the night. And I'm just exhausted lately. Just exhausted. So I've been trying to get myself to bed at a decent hour. And it's not always easy for me to do that because I hit my second win, and then anyway, not that you guys need to know the whole story here. Now, the reason why I am doing this particular series, if you've been here and you've watched these, you already know, but if you're new, I'll explain it. I am 50 years old, and of course I'm aging, and my face is aging along with me, and I just really want to be on this journey of accepting myself for myself without any makeup on. Of course, I love makeup. That's 99.2% of what you're going to see on my channel is makeup application, makeup products, talking about makeup, the whole 9 yards. But again, I just really want to embrace my natural face and be okay with myself without any makeup on. And I always mention this too. There are times when I'm just kind of lazy and exhausted, and I just don't have the bandwidth to get all the makeup stuff together to put it on my face. But I do want to film a video. So I thought this would be fun to do a series where I'm not using any makeup, not wearing any makeup, and just sit down and chill and chat with you guys. And I also feel like if I'm going to encourage folks to embrace their natural face, it makes more sense if I have my natural face, right? So what I want to do for this episode is answer some questions that some of my subscribers put in a community post that I put up on my community tab, or however you say that, about 4 months ago. God, I made a post and I said, I'm thinking about doing this series, or had I started it yet? I don't think I'd started it yet. I think I'm going to do a new series, and it's just going to be chatting about stuff. And does anyone have any suggestions for topics they'd like me to touch on? And several people did, and then I forgot I ever put the post up. Now, initially, I obviously read the questions. I'm like, oh, these are so great. I love these. And I thought, well, I'll do a dedicated episode to each one of the questions. But a lot of these questions, I just don't necessarily have a huge, big, educated, long answer, right? So I don't know that I could do a whole episode. It'd be about 30 seconds long, maybe longer than that, but not much longer. So I thought what I would do today is finally address these questions here, since people took the time to ask me these. It makes sense that I would finally answer them, right? And I'm going to do my best to answer these. I will say that I am not a know-it-all. I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional makeup artist. I don't know all there is to know about the makeup world and brands and prices and this and that and the other thing. But I do feel like I have, some experience where I can answer these questions and not sound like a complete buffoon. You might disagree with me, but I'm going to answer these. Okay, so I have to get my glasses on because I can't see. Alrighty, so the first question, the first topic here, well, there are questions too, and I'm not going to read anybody's names that have left me these questions because I don't know if that's okay to do with people, They may not want their name announced in a YouTube video. So let's start off with A, the price of some indie brands' makeup skyrocketing, especially when it comes to them no longer doing things by hand and outsourcing the work. Now, I will say that I have noticed that indie brand prices have gone not across the board necessarily, but there are a lot of brands that I feel are extremely expensive. And I also feel like the indie brand sphere used to be kind of known for their more affordable pricing, right? Because a lot of the mainstream brands had really high prices. And there were people that were like, I'm not paying for that, that's too much money. And I felt like when indie brands first got going, they were like, let's lower the prices, but still give our customers amazing products, special shades and all that kind of stuff for just less money. And I still do feel like there's a good chunk of indie brands that are staying in the affordable realm. I have heard hold on, my nose itches. I've heard people say things like, well, if you can afford it, it's affordable. And I don't agree with that. That's ridiculous. Just because someone could afford something doesn't mean it's affordable across the board. And I've done a video about this. Affordability takes more than one person into consideration. I would say that affordable, you're looking at like, I don't know, 10 to 40 bucks, right? And even the 40 bucks might be like, huh, to some people, and it has been to me. So that's not like, I'm not judging anyone or putting anybody down. There are times when I've looked at a $40 palette and thought, there's no way in hell I can afford that, you know? But I will say that like when I first got into makeup, like Urban Decay and Too Faced and, gosh, I'm trying to think of what else was really popular. Those are the two brands that really pop into my head. They seemed really expensive to me. And so I thought, I'm not going to get stuff from them because it's just too much money. And not that they don't make pretty products, they do, but I just was like, oh, geez. And then of course you have the luxury brands that were way out of my price range, like Charlotte Tilbury, Pat McGrath, Natasha Denona, Anastasia Beverly Hills, although they seem like at times they could be a little bit less expensive. So, you know, like I said, we have these indie brands that are coming onto the field to play, and their palettes just seemed really reasonable. Now, when I look at like Ensley Rain, for instance, and Adept, trying to think what else. Nomad even, I feel like, has gone up in price. It makes me go, what's going on here? But at the same time, I feel like there are brands such as Ladybug Glow and Gourmand Girls and Cosmic Beauty or Cosmic Brushes. Used to be Cosmic Brushes, now it's Cosmic Beauty. I feel like they've stayed pretty consistent in the affordable realm. ColourPop was just considered an indie brand. Pretty damn affordable. However, I haven't gotten anything from ColourPop in a long time because I feel like they all look the same. They're starting to look the same to me, their releases. Glamlight is another brand that I think is pretty darn reasonable. And the thing that I will say too about a lot of indie brands, Beauty Bay is one, well, what I was going to say is they have really great sales, and Beauty Bay is a brand that has really great sales. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's tons of indie brands I love. Titanium Foxes, I think, has great pricing. Beauty Moon Cosmetics, absolutely. You know, Mad Witch Cosmetics, my sister's brand, I think that she's chosen some pretty reasonable pricing for her items. And I think that, you know, with inflation and the economy and all kinds of different things that play into that, prices do go up and down, you know, kind of fluctuate. But it's kind of a bummer because there's, like, I really would like to try Ensley Rain. And I know that brand gets a lot of shit. I know. And I really want to try Adept. And that's another brand that gets a lot of shit. And I get that. But I really try hard not to get into the backbitey back stuff in the background, you know. I mean, I don't know, maybe I should do that more often, but I try to stay out of it. I have friends that use their products, Ensley Rain and, what did I just say? Adept. And they love their products, you know. I also really wanted to try Cleona Cosmetics, and due to the generosity of Andy does stuff, she gave me one of their gift cards for my birthday, and I was able to finally try that brand. But I used to go onto their website quite often, and I'd see a single shadow for like 20 bucks and a set of them for like over 200, and I'm thinking, holy crap. But what I will say is, even though the pricing of a lot of the stuff seems too expensive for me, I do think in a lot of cases you get what you pay for. And I do feel like I have really been lucky in my life to find cheap, they have been cheap, palettes off of like Amazon and other, like You Can Be. What else? God, my brain is just not always here with me. You Can Be is a brand that I just instantly clicks in my head, that were great palettes and also very affordable, like cheap. But what I will say is I've decluttered a lot of those palettes now because I've started using better quality indie brand palettes. Not to say that there's anything wrong with You Can Be, because I don't think there is. I still have like 3 or 4 of their palettes. But you start using stuff that knocks your socks off and you're like, whoa. Like, oh, another brand that I love is Mandy Makeup. And I would love to get all of Mandy Makeup's palettes. I think I have all of Beauty Moon Cosmetics palette. No, there's a couple I don't have. Titanium Foxes has the Poppy Quiet palette that I want, you know. And I feel like for what you get in those palettes, they're worth paying maybe a little bit extra. Although, like I said, not all of those brands you're going to pay extra necessarily, but I'm willing to pay a little bit more because of the quality, sure. But I also have to remind myself that it's just eyeshadows, you know? And being a single mother for as long as I was and not really spending any money on myself, it's still a little tricky for me to do that. So I know I'm kind of all over the place here, but I do see that indie brand palettes are going up in price. Like Martine Cosmetics is another one that I think is a little on the spendy side. Lethal Cosmetics is another one that's on the spendy side, but Lethal also has great sales. Menagerie Cosmetics is a brand that I think is kind of middle of the line. You know, I don't think they're too super expensive, but I wouldn't say they're cheap either, but they also have really good sales. Melt Cosmetics is another brand that I think kind of, I don't know, it depends on how you look at it, I guess, but I'm not a huge fan of their shimmer formula. I love their mattes, but I don't love their shimmers. So it's kind of a tricky topic because I do think that some of the prices are too high, but then if the shadows perform really well and they're worth the money, you know, they're worth spending the extra money to get a really good quality product, I don't know. The outsourcing of things, I'm just not really aware of that aspect of it, and I probably should be, but I'm just not. I don't know. And some of you probably think, oh, you're such an ignorant jerk, but I just don't really know a lot of that information. I'm always willing to learn it. I just don't know it, really. The next question this person asked is, should the indie beauty market be using AI for its artwork? So that was something I mentioned in another video. And a lot of you helped to educate me on that whole situation. And I truly don't necessarily have a problem with it. And I'm not going to avoid trying a brand's palettes because they use AI artwork. I understand, though, why it can be upsetting to folks, you know, because they're not paying a human artist to produce the artwork for the palette, which I understand that's, you know, not the coolest thing, maybe, or well, not maybe, it's not the coolest thing. I also know, this is what I was educated on, that AI programs will commonly pull influences or designs or color scheme, whatever, you know, artsy stuff from other artists, and then pull those in and then do-da-da-da-do-da-da-da, Shazam, and here we have the palette cover, you know. And as an artist, or I'm not an artist, but if I was an artist and somebody like ripped off my idea or my design or whatever for an AI palette cover, that might piss me off. So it would piss me off. So I get that. But I also know that Picasso said that art is theft. And because people are commonly gleaning ideas and designs and styles and whatnot from each other in the art world. I don't know. I don't know how true that is, but I heard that not long ago. I think that's the whole quote. It might be longer than that. I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, I just think that we are in the technology age. And I think that unfortunately, AI is going to become a lot more common and a lot more popular. There's things about AI that absolutely terrify me. There's things about it that fascinate me. But I'm not going to say, well, I will never buy a palette or a product from a brand that uses AI artwork. I'm just not going to say that. And that might really irritate you. And that's not what my intention is. But I just don't have a strong enough, like, no, at this point in my life. That might change, but right now I'm just like, you know, I get the controversy more so than I did before, but I'm not going to like bash a brand or not use a brand's products because of it. Then the last question from this person is Is it ever okay to keep buying from a brand if the brand owner is controversial? What's your line in the sand? Now that's a really good question. And I just kind of talked about my issues with Morphe. And I'm like, I'm going to declutter all my Morphe palettes. And then I calmed down and changed my mind. For me, there are definite things that if a brand does, I will not buy their products and I will not support the brand. And I'm not going to, obviously, if I haven't bought their products, I can't use them on my channel, right? And an example of that is Jeffree Star. And I know that some of you watching are fans of his or use his products, and that's totally your decision. My decision has been to not support him. I don't like what comes out of his mouth. I just don't. And for me, that's the line in the sand, right? Now, I do have Juvia's Place palettes in my collection, and I know Juvia's Place has had some controversy. Morphe, like I just mentioned. And so that might push people off my channel, you know, thinking, well, what's this person doing using these palettes from a brand that has done some weird stuff? So I get that. I also, however, and I want to say this delicately because I don't want to be offensive to anyone. I don't. That's never my goal here, ever. Is that I don't always, how do I word this? I think that there's probably something that we could pick apart in every single brand, right? And I also think that there are brands who, no matter what they do, they're going to get shot down, no matter what it is. And so, and I can't give you an example of that or anything like that. I just know that that's how I felt sometimes. Like, God, nobody can do anything unless they're going to get picked apart. And I don't love that. I also don't think, though, like I've said this a few times, I don't think that bad behavior or racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynistic type behavior should just be ignored. No, I don't think that. I also sometimes feel, though, that there are certain spins put on things that I don't know if I'm getting the whole picture. And it's tricky, though. It is tricky. It's a very tricky thing because I don't ever want to endorse or support a brand that is being awful. I don't want to do that. And I'm sure people have come onto my channel with certain things I've used and they've thought that I don't care. But I do care. I don't know. I'm kind of giving you a very convoluted answer here. I guess I don't have an exact answer other than I know for my own personal belief system and moral code that if a brand crosses a particular line with me, that's it. In terms of my Morphe palettes, I'm not going to get rid of them, but I don't know that I'm going to use them on my channel. I might change my mind about that. But if I do decide to use them, I'm going to very clearly announce that, like, I'm not a fan of the brand, but then I'm thinking, then why are you using it? So, you know, it's a tricky topic. It really is. But I like what I like, and I know that some of the things I like probably aren't everybody's favorite, and I get that. I guess how I look at that is, if it's something that you don't enjoy and you don't have any interest in, then you definitely don't have to watch it. And I feel that way too about some folks that use stuff that I'm like, I would not use that. I'm not going to go onto their channel and bash them and drag them through the mud. I'm just not going to support that particular video or watch the video, right? I don't need to, go off on someone and make them cry just because of a makeup brand they're using. I think there's a lot more important things in life. Again, not to minimize crap that brands pull. I'm not trying to do that, but look at the state of the world we're in right now, okay? I mean, come on. Let's see. I'd love a deep dive into color theory. Also, why and where to use different brushes, pros and cons of natural hair versus synthetic, when to and not to use natural hair brushes versus synthetic. Okay, well, let me tell you something. I am not skilled or versed in color theory at all. Just trying to make sure my hair is not sprung out. I've seen the color wheel. I know that, like, the colors are on the opposite sides of the color wheel from each other are like, what are you not supposed to use them together, or they're harder to use together, or do they complement each other? I don't know. I'm not going to be able to answer this. I'm not an expert on the color theory. My whole thing is that if I think colors are going to look cool together, I give it a try. And I feel like I've put together some pretty fun color combinations here on my channel. But yeah, I don't know. I could try to do that. I could do some research on color theory and provide you with some information, but there's probably other people here on this platform that are going to give you way better and more educated information about color theory than I ever will. In terms of, what brushes to use, where to use them, I am not an expert on that. And I think that I just use what I feel the most comfortable with. I don't care if a brush says blender, packer, shader, I don't care. It's more like the size and the configuration of the brush that I care about. And so I don't know. I don't know. The majority of my brushes, though, are synthetic brushes, and I love them. I think they're great brushes. I get, or I have, I get brush sets from Jessup, Jessup. I've gotten those off Amazon. I'll link a couple of those sets in my description box. Beili, Beili, MSQ, Docolor or Ducolor. I've had some random stuff that was thrown into like Boxy Charms or Ipsy. Luxie brushes I love. I've gotten a few at Target. I can't remember the name of the brand. I just kind of have a hodgepodge set of brushes. I do have a set from Blend Bunny it's okay. It's not the greatest. I have Real Technique brushes I love, Eco Tools, Cala, I think they're called, C-A-L-A, Coastal Scents, some Morphe brushes. Janny did gift me a natural hair brush set from Refer that I think is absolutely amazing. It's my favorite brush set. It really is. But they're pretty spendy, and I'm cheap as AF, or cheap AF, whatever the kids are saying nowadays. And but I think I do have synthetic brushes I think work really great. BH Cosmetics brushes too. So I have some Zoeva brushes too that are pretty cool, like a travel set. Spectrum. Steph got me a really cute Cruella de Vil Spectrum brush set. And the majority of those, I believe, all of them are synthetic other than my Refer brushes. But I'm telling you, Refer brushes, they're pretty damn nice. They really are. I think what I've noticed in terms of the difference between synthetic and natural hair is that, and Jan and Shawnee taught me this, thank goodness, you don't need to wash natural hair brushes as often as you wash synthetic. I've stained my brushes and I don't care, like color stains. I've seen people like lose it over that. I'm like, you're putting them into color that is strong, saturated color. It's going to stain. Anyway, I mean, to each their own, I get that. But, like, yeah, I've had brushes stain, but I'm still going to keep using them because they work really well. I feel like what's great about the synthetic brushes I have is they're super durable. I mean, they've been through wash after wash after wash, and they're still going strong. I've had to throw away, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 brushes since I started really getting into makeup in 2018. I mean, I've gotten more sets, but, I'm trying to think if I could show you one. Like, okay, for instance, like this brush right here. This is a AliExpress brush. I don't even know what brand it is. I've had this brush since 2019, maybe 20, 21. So it's, the oldest it probably is like 5 years old. The youngest it is 3 years old. And it looks awesome. It looks great. So, I can't really answer that. I just think whatever you prefer. I do think, though, that, like, people get real hung up on the brand names of brushes. And I just don't, because I just feel like I have great brushes and they're really affordable, cheap brushes. But, again, to each their own. Like, you're welcome to do whatever you want. I don't need to tell you what to do. I'm not your real dad. Okay, so let's see here. I've always been interested in what makes a luxury brand a luxury. Is it just the name, or are they actually better? Ingredients, wearability, accessibility to skin tones. Are we being duped by the market? Okay, well, again, I don't know that I'm the person to answer this because I don't have any luxury brand makeup really. I used to have a Tarte palette. Was that considered luxury? I don't even know if that's considered luxury anymore. I don't know. And this is just my opinion, okay? So before anybody starts going off on me in the comment section, let me just say what I'm going to say and just really emphasize the fact that this is just my opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. If we differ, it's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with luxury brands. I have seen luxury brands create some of the most beautiful makeup products. I've seen them in action and they're incredible. I've also seen luxury brands that I think are boring and that I don't feel like would be an asset in my collection. And to spend the type of money on those types of products, to me, doesn't make any sense. If they're not giving me a like kind of reaction, then I don't see the point in having them in my collection, really. Not to say that I haven't wasted money on stuff. I have, yes, of course. But it just doesn't work, or will not work. It's just not something that I have any interest in necessarily. I can appreciate it for what it is. I can look at those palettes and products and think, wow, that's beautiful. But I can also look at some of them and think, like, you know, Natasha Denonna's, was it the Golden palette? No. The I Need a Warm palette, or the Warm palette, does not do anything for me. A lot of the Charlotte Tilbury quads, I'm like, huh. Now, if I used them, I might have a completely different attitude about it, okay? I might. But it's just not for me. I've never looked at the ingredients list, but so I can't really comment on that. But in terms of makeup, now skincare, I have done a little bit of that. And in a lot of the cases with skincare, I don't really see a lot of difference in the ingredients. I really don't. I think a lot of it's what you're paying for is the brand name and the packaging. And sure, there's a lot of really fancy skincare packaging, which at the end of the day, that's just going to be an empty container. Are you going to like frame it or put it on display in your house? I mean, maybe, because I've talked about framing my palettes, my Dream Street palette, putting it in a glass box. So who am I to say that that's weird? Because it's probably not weird, because some of that stuff's really cool looking. But I don't know. I feel like I've never been attracted to that, and I've never been enticed by it. And I guess I'm lucky too, because I don't have any breakouts or allergies. But I do find it interesting when someone says, oh, I'm allergic to drugstore, or not drugstore, but more affordable skincare. And I've gone and looked. Like I did that. I watched a video that I never should have watched, but I watched a video. This person who talks about how they spend like $1,200 to $1,500 a month on skincare because they have such sensitive skin. And there was a couple products they showed, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go look those ingredients up versus like, I don't know, CeraVe or however you say it. And I didn't see any difference. So I'm thinking, really? I mean, maybe the concentration, but I didn't look like it was any different. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just feel like I would rather spend money on more affordable products and get more bang for my buck, really, is kind of how I look at it too. But I don't think there's anything wrong with using luxury makeup. I think it's people's preferences. And, you know, this is not me bad-mouthing anyone, because I really do believe that luxury makeup in most cases is absolutely gorgeous. It is. And you're paying for lots of fancy stuff, the packaging, the brush that comes with the palette or whatever, what it's made out of, like just the packaging itself is really nice, you know, and then also how the products are put together, for sure. It's just, like I mentioned, I don't know if everybody said this, there's just some stuff that I've seen where I was like, meh, I would just rather get a more fun palette that I think is more fun anyway, that's not as expensive. I don't know. I mean, I do think there is a seductive type quality to luxury brand makeup. I think there's a feeling of like, I'm real fancy because I have this, and there's not, okay, that's cool. Yeah, feel fancy. Why not? You know, I have a Mazda 3. If I was driving a Porsche, I'd feel pretty damn fancy, right? So it makes sense. I don't know. It's just, it's hard for me to answer luxury brand type questions because I don't have a lot of experience with it. So anyway, Okay, so the next one is, I would be interested to hear what your perspective on cosmetics are as you approach 50. I am 50 now. This is before I turned 50, of course, and how your preferences may change, or if they have already. How have they changed? Um, okay, so I still really love, I know I keep doing this. You guys are like, your hair is fine. I still really enjoy colorful makeup, even as I'm getting older. I love it. And I do know friends of mine who are like, I'm kind of just not really into that as much anymore. I'd rather just stick with my neutrals, and that's wonderful. I do feel, though, that my preference in coverage of foundation has changed. Although I've always really liked lighter coverage. There was a time when I really enjoyed full coverage, though. I don't know, a couple years ago, maybe. And, I still have some full coverage foundations in my drawer over here that I'll probably continue to use. I mean, I might want to use it up. I'm not just going to let it, dry up in there. Although I better get to using it. I don't use concealer really at all anymore. I'm trying to leave my brows alone because I just think I put too much stuff in them and it looks weird. But in terms of like colorful makeup versus neutral, or bold lips versus less bold, or I don't know, I still really enjoy my colorful makeup looks. And I don't know that that will ever change. And I don't know if that's, excuse me, my stomach's growling. I don't know if that's what that person's necessarily, wanting me to focus on. So yes, there are things I do differently now, but there's also things I don't think I'll ever do differently. I think I will be 90 years old, hopefully, if I make it to that age, with, bright purple and green eyeshadows on. I do. Let's see, is that it? Oh, makeup brushes and their various prices and quality. Oh, wait. Well, okay, let me answer that. And then there is one other one that I'm really excited to answer. I just skipped it. Makeup brushes and their various prices and quality. I kind of touched on that already. I do think that there's a lot of great brush sets for cheap. And I think, did I say this? I will link all of the brush sets that I love that are really affordable off Amazon. I'll link them in my description box. Or maybe if I can find them, I think they do have their own websites too. Might do a little bit of both. But I have found some awesome brushes for very affordable pricing that I'm thrilled that I found. And, but I know that there are more expensive brushes that people absolutely love. Okay, I've already said all this, but it's like repetitive much over here. Yes, I am. I don't know. I just think brushes are a very personal thing. They're very personal. I don't know that I will ever do a brush set collection or brush collection video for you guys because I don't know. I just think it's a very personal thing. I really do. The last question here that I'm super excited to touch on is, would love to hear your thoughts on conscious consumerism. Well, I think it's an amazing concept. And I really want to like grab onto it and like focus on it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what my plans are. Next year, 2025, listen to this. I want to go for the whole year and not get any makeup. The only thing I think I might have to repurchase though are like my BB creams because I'm going to run out of those. There's no way I can keep like this for a year. No. But I really want to try to not buy any makeup for a year. And that was my chair that squeaked, not me, I promise. My chair like, that sounded kind of, I think conscious consumerism is absolutely amazing. And if people can really be mindful of it, I think it's so awesome. I struggle with seeing beautiful eyeshadow palettes that I feel like I can't live without. And some of you might think that's very weird. And it probably is weird. But there's just stuff I really want to try and I love and I get it and I use it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I want to get all of their palettes or whatever. But I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes in here. And you can't take it with you, right? I mean, I'm not going to be here forever. So I can continue to just go bonkers buying stuff, or I can buckle down and really use what I have in my collection. So I've got some plans for next year. I'm thinking I'm going to do a lot less tutorial type stuff, maybe, and more like discussion type videos like this, just different topics surrounding makeup. And I don't know, I've got some ideas. And just chill out on buying makeup. That's what I want to do. I've tried doing no buys in the past and they don't work. Well, they haven't worked. So I don't know. We'll see. But I really want to focus on conscious consumerism and not being seduced by a brand, a color story, anything, just not getting it. And it's tough because I have brands I love so much that I want to monetarily support because I love them so much. And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll, treat myself to a couple things. I don't know. But I really do want to delve into that because I think that this makeup sphere, this beauty space, is so new makeup pushing and so not conscious consumerism friendly that I think it's doing some damage. Honestly, I think because I've seen the views have just, plummeted because it gets to be too much. And how much makeup can you see, right? How much makeup can you see? How many eye looks can you see be put together? And I continue to do eye looks because I love to do them. So, I mean, I'm not like, I can't believe people do eye looks. I do them all the time. So that's not my goal or my point here. I just feel like things are shifting. Things are really shifting. And it makes sense. It can't have its makeup, the makeup beauty sphere can't have its glory days forever and ever. Eventually things kind of shift and people get interested in other stuff. But, and I do think I do want to stay like relevant here and I want people to enjoy my content. So I don't know, I've got a lot of stuff kicking around up here if you guys couldn't tell, but conscious consumerism is an excellent idea. It's an excellent concept. And I really want to do better about glomming onto that and portraying that here on my channel too, to you guys. It's important to me. Okay, so those were all the questions that were asked of me 4 months ago. God, 4 months ago, I can't believe that. And it was really fun to answer them. I hope that I gave you anything here because a lot of it was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I thought a discussion of these questions would be fun for me to give you guys. Please feel free to contribute anything you'd like in the comment section. I would love that. We can chat more in depth about these things if you so choose to do so in the comment section. And of course, well, I was going to say, of course, I'll have another video, another episode up next week. I don't know. We'll see. I might start doing these every other week. Like I said, I'm just trying to take care of me and also give you guys some really fun content when I can. I don't know if anyone thinks my content's really fun, but that's my goal here. And so, yeah, I just get really tired. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.